Welcome in the ring. Good night, guys. And it is so nice to see so many of you who are joining us on so many social media platforms. Again, welcome in the ring. Whether you are joining us on Twitter, click that like, you can reshare, you can retweet. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, you can click that like button as well, and you can also subscribe on YouTube. And if you're joining us across Facebook on our various pages, we are, yes, whether you're joining us on Facebook, we are privileged that you have joined us this evening. You can like, and we always ask that you guys reshare. We value your time, we value your presence, and we are privileged that in the numerous places you could choose to be on Facebook this evening, you choose to be in the ring with us. We have a couple folks who are dropping by, and I don't want to waste any time this evening. So folks, you gotta like, you gotta retweet, you gotta reshare, you gotta subscribe, whichever social media platform you're joining us. How was your day? What is happening at your end? We are privileged, really privileged that all of you are here tonight, which means that you survived another day. Day 5 of the new year. Believe it or not, 5 days have gone by so fast already. You see the place getting dark quick. You know why? Because it's coming on to Christmas. Christmas 2021. Folks, welcome in the ring. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about Jagdeo. We're going to talk about 𝗪𝗵𝗏. We're going to talk about what's happening in success squatting area. We have a number of issues we want to discuss. And to help us to discuss COVID this evening, we want to welcome none other than Dr. 𝗪𝗏, who is here in the ring with us this evening. If we had a live audience, I would say, put your hands together and let's welcome Dr. 𝗪𝗏. Dr. 𝗪𝗏, a very good evening. How are you doing?
Good, Thank God for spirit life to see 2021.
Thank God indeed. Let's start first by asking you, how has the year started for you? You sound in high spirits.
Well, it's really good, unprecedented so far, and I have great expectations for 2021. We know 2020 wasn't, it was unprecedented.
Doc, we can see you. If you can center a little more, come more to, yes, perfect.
It's okay.
A little more would be great, so we can set you up nicely. Great.
Is this okay?
Yes, you are now officially in the discussion. Great to have you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, I was saying the year started pretty well, restful, but give you a lot of pensive, But I expect great things for 2021. I look forward to great things for 2021.
Excellent. Well, the members of the public are out there. They are feeling the effects of COVID, the restrictions. They are seeing what is happening. They are seeing what the government is doing, the double standards in lots of instances. Doc, talk to us about COVID, where we are on COVID in 2021.
Well, thank you once again for having me, and good evening to our viewers. I'm happy to be here tonight. As you know, COVID remains a public health challenge. It's a formidable public health challenge. We know it has impacted worldwide, so much so it has brought international travel to almost a standstill. As we're speaking here, there are about 84 million confirmed cases in the world and close to 2 million deaths, 1.84, I think. In the United States of America, there like one death every 33 seconds, and so it's really mind-boggling to think that just a little virus can cause so much damage, how catastrophic it is. And Guyana has not been spared. We too are raking up our figures. We are close to 6,379 confirmed cases coming from the government's dashboard, with 164 deaths. Region 4 continues to be the epicenter. Region 1 coming up very close, but close to 1,000 cases, confirmed cases.
Oh boy.
We have Region 7 with 542, Region 10, 520. Region 3, 456, close to 500. I mean, the other regions that are coming up in the rear, we have Region 5, 101, Region 2, 196, Region 8, 199. And scientists have said that the cases may be 4 times higher than reported. So
Yes.
there continues to be an uptick in cases in our country, Guyana. When looking at the dashboard, Sherwood, I'm still a little worried about our home isolation. The number is 264 persons in home isolation, and we want to watch that. We want to ensure that, persons are taking the public health measures very seriously, and so they're not spreading it, especially to the
Dr. Cummins,
vulnerable, to
just
those
pause
with
for one.
comorbidities, and so
Dr.
on.
Cummins, just pause for 1 second for me. Let me welcome our other guest, Member of Parliament, 𝗪𝗵cie 𝗬𝗵𝗴.
A pleasant evening
Yes,
to
welcome,
you,
MP
Annette.
Ferguson,
Sherrod.
welcome, welcome.
A pleasant evening to my colleague, Dr. Karen Cummins. Let me
Yes.
take this opportunity, since I have the floor, to say a big shout out to all Guyana, for those persons tuned in here locally, regionally and internationally. And let me take this opportunity to extend best New Year's wishes to all tuned in. May 2021 be prosperous. May it bring best health and success. And most importantly, your continuous walk with Jesus Christ, our Lord and
Thanks very
Savior.
much, Annette. We were just in a discussion on the local and international numbers on COVID. So I want to toss it back to Dr. Cummins. Go right ahead,
Okay.
Doc.
Yes, thank you very much, Sherwood. As I was saying, that was more or less the stats. But then the challenges, because we certainly want to overcome this pandemic sooner rather than later. And I did allude to the formidable public health challenge, uh, because it's causing a lot. Both of us were in the budget debate, and we've seen some of the policies. We know it has impacted on the growth of the economy, downward rather than upward, even though it's becoming a rich state. And so it's very impactful. I still want us, the Minister of Health, I'm still to see a fine tuning of his policies, and the way he wants to take the Ministry of Public Health. There must be continue to have active surveillance. We have to continue monitoring, contacts tracing. And with this new strain, we have to do some, backward tracing. So we have to really, step up in our game in terms of tracing and monitoring those persons who are COVID positive. Um, there's a slight improvement in the test, the turnaround time for tests, but there's still some persons who are taking, not having the results in quick time, in an appropriate manner, in an opportune time, in a timely manner. So we hope that they will able to, make this test available, that persons can recognize early that they are positive and make the necessary adjustments. I did mention there's a variant strain which you've heard of, starting in countries like the UK would have gotten a shutdown for the second time. Countries like Australia, Belgium, France, Netherlands, those countries where they have had a strain. There are different strain. One strain started off in when we started in Wuhan, but from since that time they've had several mutations of the virus. And so one will want to know, okay, with this new vaccine, if there's going to be some neutralization or a decrease in the duration of protection. But scientists, the virologists are still working towards the answer for that. We're going to wait and see how it's a novel virus, and so we're still
But
waiting
Doc,
to see some of
we could barely manage COVID. Um, the original COVID, we can go with strain and all that. I
but
mean,
but we
Exactly.
can't
it's
even
the people
test the
we're talking
strain.
about.
Yeah, we can test it. I think Eureka may be doing, but countries like Jamaica, they've started to test the strain, and so, but we don't want to be left too much behind. We want to do catching up work, so we have to step up our game. But so far, in terms of the public health measures, I've heard that there's this overall of this public health measures and so forth, and the Gazette order. But I'm not sure if there's any fresh restrictions on our travelers. Those who are coming in, the arrivals. I'm not sure what's happening there, well, Sherrod. I'm not sure what's happening there with our arrivals, and if this new strain, um, persons who have a weak immune system going to some of these events where super spreading events. You can imagine the viral, will have a heyday, so to speak. The viral will have should I say, a biological advantage. So we have to watch that in our little small country in Guyana, with less than 1 million population. Our health here is decentralized, so I would hope that we're able to boost up infection control across the 10 administrative regions, around our health centers, make sure they have the personal protective equipment, they have adequate, equipment to meet the needs of the staff, and so there are frontline workers, and so we hope that good sense will prevail.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure
But
how the government plans to block community spread. When we were in government, we just had a little cluster spread, but now you have community spread. Some of
yeah,
these are
wide
meridian
and far,
areas, regions 1, 7,
countrywide
8,
spread.
and 9. Yes, and our borders are open. They're not. People are passing still as they in and out. I'm not sure
Dr.
how
Cummins,
we are enforcing those measures.
Dr. Cummins, the world is talking about vaccination and about this second strain and its management. We are
Yes.
barely trying to scramble together a team of people to look at how we're going to roll out the vaccination. Yourself and Ms. Ferguson are both members of parliament, and that they promised to bring a bill concerning how the vaccine will be rolled out to parliament. That has not been done. You had a long hiatus of the National Assembly. Is there confidence that these guys know what to do?
Absolutely, you're on target, the Sherrod, because the clock is ticking. Is there a starting date for this vaccine? We hear it's sometime in June. We hear it's coming before June and so on, but it's fuzzy. We're not hearing anything. What's the starting date? I mean, which vaccine are we going with? Pfizer? Are we going to Moderna? We're not sure because the doses vary. Because in Pfizer, I think the age is 60 years and over. With every the next shot is at 21. There are 2 shots, so one at the first time and then 21 days after. But if it's Moderna, they want the age to be 80 years and over rather than 16 years, and then 28 days the next shot. So I'm not sure which way we're going to, is Pfizer or Moderna. Would there be a delay in rolling out the vaccines? We have to be very careful. What in terms of testing, would there be with this variant now? Would there need for new testing and quarantine requirements? I'm not sure. I recall during the budget debate, they were trying to boost the capacity. I think it's Region 6 in terms of the cold storage. I'm not sure if it's in the tender board, but
Where
still,
they are not,
that is.
yeah, we have heard no information on where they are on the cold storage. None whatsoever.
That's right. Yeah, and at the policy level, we want to make sure that these vaccines are stored properly so they won't lose their efficacy. Public education. What about pregnant mothers? What are we telling the pregnant mothers? Because could they use the vaccine or not use the vaccine? Are they because this one study says they can have preterm deliveries and so forth. So we need to educate the public as it goes to these vaccines, and let alone the variant strain. So there's still a lot of work to do. I'm not sure. I know they have a task force, but I'm not sure if is there a working group that looks at, I recall when we set up the public health reference lab, I don't know what stage we're able to move from what we're doing now to do like research, and we have to think big and think ahead. You can't be lagging behind all the time. There's a lot of work to be done in the health sector, and I trust
But Doc, if you're talking
we'll
about thinking big, I ain't think you're talking about the PPP. If you're talking about thinking big, I ain't think you're talking about the PPP.
Not the PPP at all.
Folks, let me take. We have one of our other colleagues who's going to be joining us, Mr. Randy Critchlow, my co-host from the Afternoon Rush. He's going to be joining us in a minute. So let me just take that time to alert viewers. You were saying, Doc, Ms. Ferguson, I'm going to bring you in just a minute.
Okay.
Yes,
Hey,
but
Randy, what's happening?
When all is said and done, I mean, the brunt of the it's really the people we are sorry for, and the deaths and so forth, 164 deaths at this point in time, and it's climbing, So I just want to put in word for our populace, for the citizenry, that's to make sure that you follow the 3 C's, try to avoid closed spaces, try to avoid crowded places, and try to minimize, close contact, as much as humanly possible. And of course, we know the 3 W's: wear your mask correctly every time, all the time, distance, 2 feet to 6 feet, distance. And of course, wash your hands as often, try to meet persons at your home outside. I mean, we've finished the festive season, up to day 6, not 12 days of Christmas. So I think tomorrow is the 12th day. And so just continue to meet your people outside, avoid indoor setting, and, try to make the environment safer. Avoid touching your eyes and your nose, and cover your mouth and nose and so on. When you sneeze, you bend your elbows. And of course, soap and water is the key. I still the persons who wearing masks, I see some of them have a valves. Try not to touch the valves. Of course, if you can avoid ones with the valves, it's better. And before I come off, the 25,000 with the COVID grant and so forth. I would have thought that they would have given some sanitizers and in the package as well. I want that they can, the government can include sanitizers and these soap, and maybe soap and water. Well, we have water, I think so, but at least soap, and it'll help the others, the mask, and to help some poor people who can't really can afford to buy masks, and sometimes they're reusing them. But if they can do that. So all in all, as I said before, there's a lot of work to do in terms of public education at the policy level. And I hope that good sense will prevail, that we can see the direction, and some of these unanswered questions will become answered very sooner than later. And so that together we can be able to run this race and win the fight against COVID in Guyana.
I love that, Doc, and I love the encouragement that you gave at the end, because we always close the program telling persons to observe all of the regulation, to social distance, to sanitize, everything that is contained in those regulations. Watch the large gatherings and so forth. So I really want to thank you for this update on COVID.
Absolutely. Yes, thanks.
And Doc, you're welcome to stay in the ring, or you can stay ringside. MP Ferguson, welcome. I know you are heavyweight. You are heavyweight like Dr. Cummins. And I know you had your hand on the pulse of what is happening at Success Spotting area. Talk to us about that. We know last year government tear gas those people, they flood the land, they shot them with pellets, they threw a tree on them, right? What is happening there in Success at this time?
Well, Charlotte, the situation remains the same. Nothing has changed since we came in, since we demitted office on the 2nd of August. We were told that there were persons who were encouraged by the then opposition, that is the PPP, to go and take up lands out at the Success area. So now that the table has turned and they are in office by illegitimate and fraudulent means, they have now turned back on the very persons who they would have encouraged to occupy those lands unlawfully out at Success. What they did, I think it might have been sometime in September, is that they would have tear gas the people,
Yes.
women with children, pregnant mothers, and also they pilot them. And eventually, the persons there, they put up a number of resistance because
Yeah.
as Guyanese, you are entitled to a piece of land. That is your constitutional right. Article
Correct.
26
Correct. You
of
cannot
the
say that you don't.
Constitution is clear on the right of proper housing, right? And it is the government's responsibility to ensure that lands are made available so that people can apply the right way and be allocated a piece of land. So what they did, they moved on to the lands, as I said before, tear gas, pillet the people, And by the persons there put up the resistance in not moving, what they did, they sent, huge canters with water to flood the land. How inhumane, you know?
Yes,
So
very much so.
rather than meeting the people at their needs, at the point
Yeah,
of their needs, they decided to take these drastic actions against innocent Guyanese. I know
yeah,
for a fact that the leader of the opposition and a number of us as parliamentarians, we visited the area to, conduct an assessment to, find out exactly what is happening on the ground. And the people were very bold to say to us what is happening. The Ministry of Housing and Water officials there moved into the area, conducted meetings with the people. The people made a series of promises to the people, of which to date they have not honored.
but that's only
So
people do,
exactly. So
and they have to
what
make
they
promises.
exactly. So what they did, trying to coerce the people to remove from the land, and said to the people, oh, we're going to put y'all, house y'all at the Graham's Hall Primary School, set up these cots so that they can rest at nights and all kind of thing. And when you look at what
Trickery.
they had set out there, it's as though you're putting animals in some building. And the people made it absolutely clear that we're not animals, we are human beings. So
Correct.
rather than the government sitting, to devise a strategic way how we are going to address the whole success squatting area, their intent and their bend on getting those persons off of the land. And we
And
would have made
but
it.
Alex, you are there. You are there along with Minister Cummins, Dr. Cummins, in Parliament. The last sitting that we had, when we asked the Minister of Housing
Mhm.
about the success quarters, we said, look what's happening at Canal Number One,
Exactly.
Conservancy Dam. Irfan went
Exactly.
there. He gave lights. He gave water to
Yeah.
squatters. What's
Yeah.
happening with success?
They
And
said
the
they have.
Minister Colin Crowe
He said
said, "Yeah,
they have no
tell us."
plans.
Yeah,
Gaisuka is going to deal with it. So it's, what I mean, they just keep kicking the tin down the road. Nobody wants to accept responsibility. First you're hearing is Gaisuku, then you're hearing is Nisil, then you're hearing, is housing. So you don't know exactly, who really has the responsibility. But at the end of the day, you are the government of the day. And by right, it is your responsibility to ensure that our citizens, your citizens, are well taken care of.
yeah,
They
correct.
should not have allowed that situation to get out of hand, where persons were pillaged, where persons were flooded, the lands were flooded, and persons were shot at. No,
Yeah.
come to the table. Rather than confrontation, let's have consensus.
Yeah, folks, as you're joining, welcome in the ring. We are imploring you and encouraging you to share, share, share. If you're joining us on Twitter, you have to retweet. You gotta like. If you're joining us on YouTube, you gotta subscribe. You gotta like. You gotta love. If you're joining us on Facebook, you gotta reshare it. Tag a friend. Uh, Both Dr. Cummins and Ms. Ferguson, members of Parliament. This COVID cash grant is another area. And for instance, because the folks, for instance, at success crafting area don't have physical homes in the traditional sense, their thought is this cash grant is going to miss those folks who need it the most, like these success quarters.
Well, you see what the government should have done, because this whole cash grant, the COVID grant, to me it's a hoax in the sense that the government would have failed to have like a structured methodology set out, right? how are we going to disperse these funds? Are we going to look at persons who are most vulnerable, less vulnerable, and who are more in need of this cash grant? That is the methodology that they should have had to ensure that those persons, whether in Success, whether in Tiger Bay, whether
Yeah.
in Albistown area, whether in East and West Rumpelt on the dam there, those persons should have been treated with, you know, as priority. But what they have done is that they have started in, in the various regions, and left Region 4 for last. And up to now, Central, those who are living in Georgetown of itself, they have not benefited from the
Yeah.
25,000
Yeah.
COVID grant.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Success, I know for a fact that they are going to be in the area. So let us see how they are going to treat with those persons who are not in a regularized area, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let us see how they're going to
And
treat with it.
also on that very point, Dr. Cummins and MP Ferguson, persons are complaining that again, the COVID cash grant is not getting to them. And look, a woman just called me just this afternoon who lives on the
Mhm.
periphery of the city, and she said to me that they have refused to give it to her. They only want to give it to her landlord.
But that is what they're doing from the time they have started the distribution from Region 1. Persons were sidelined. If you were perceived PNC or APNU, you were denied the cash grant. You were denied, or even if you were given the $25,000 without being told, the numerators being told that, well, look, hey, that household there is APNU. When they would have given the monies, they returned days after to take back the monies from those very persons. That is exactly what they did. So, um,
Trial version.
so Sherrod, as I said before, this whole distribution of the cash grant is being done in a
Trial
haphazard way.
version.
You got people walking with bags of money around the place, police with big guns. What message are you sending to those in the
Trial
community?
version.
But you see, the PPP don't like structured things. The PPP is all about, whether could, thief off a little
Trial
some for
version.
themselves, or, giving to their supporters or their activists. Because, Sherrod, you would agree with me, when we approved
Trial
the
version.
initial $4.5 billion, many of us on the opposition benches, we stood in the National Assembly asking
Trial
hard
version.
questions. What constitutes a household? We did not get a response to that. We asked what
Correct.
methodology or methodologies will
Trial
be
version.
used to ensure that there's transparency and accountability in the disbursement of these funds. We did not get any
Trial version.
response to that. But you know what we got? We were told that the 4.5 billion has been, utilized in all the
Trial
regions,
version.
probably in some part here in region number 4. Just on the 28th of December, they came to the National Assembly seeking an additional
Trial version.
$2.5 billion, now bringing the total sum of the COVID disbursement to 7 billion Guyana dollars. And we were being told
Trial
that
version.
you got persons who are being paid $150,000 probably a month, right? As we call it,
Trial
coordinators.
version.
Then you got the field workers who are being paid another probably a 50,000 or $70,000. All of this information did not come to the National
Trial
Assembly
version.
prior to us approving those sums. So without the necessary information, the base information, the data, you
Trial
Yeah.
understand me?
version.
Yeah.
We can only conclude that this particular project is being used to, as I said before, to thief the money.
Trial version.
I will put it that
Yeah.
boldly, to thief
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm hearing this refrain of
Trial
childhood.
version.
Where that's coming
Yes. I don't know where it's coming from.
from, but I'm trying to locate it.
At one
Randy,
time, it
that's not
caused
from
me to lose
your end. But I'm hearing
my
that
train of
refrain.
thought.
Trial version.
Yeah, let me bring back Dr. Cummins in. Doc, just before I let you go, I want you to remind, because it affects the folks who are at
Trial
session
version.
and all those other folks, in terms of what is happening, in terms of the COVID practice that we
Trial
want them
version.
to continue to practice.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat, Cheryl?
I just wanted you to repeat
Trial version.
Could you repeat
how
that?
the public should be proceeding to safeguard themselves from COVID.
Well, I'm not sure.
Trial version.
Of course, they know I said vaccines. You try to avoid spaces that are closed spaces, avoid crowded places, avoid having
Trial
persons in
version.
close contact with you. And of course, you continue to wear your mask, watch your distance in terms of social and physical distancing,
Trial
and you
version.
wash your hands. And of course, you try to meet persons outside of your home. You try to, make your environment as safe as you can. Avoid
Trial
touching your
version.
eyes, your nose, your mouth. If you have to sneeze or cough, try to do it in your elbow, and try to use a lot of soap and water to wash your hands and stay at home.
Trial
Try
version.
to isolate yourself if you think you're having some of the symptoms like fever, tiredness, and dry cough.
Correct. Thank
Trial
you
Make
very
sure
version.
much,
you use your
Dr. Cummins.
yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, Annette, for stopping by. And you guys, don't be stranger. I know don't get you guys off them, but it was a privilege this evening. Don't be
Trial
stranger.
version.
Thank you for having me on your
Thank you
program,
so much.
Sharon.
Thanks for the
And
update on
So
success, and
interesting.
thanks for the update on success spotting area, and thanks for the update on COVID.
Trial version.
Cummins and Dr. Ferguson,
Thank you so much.
respectively.
Thank you.
thank you very much. All right, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy, what's happening where you are?
Trial version.
I didn't hear that, Randy.
Trial version.
Randy, your audio, I don't know what's happening with your audio there. Help us. But folks, that was Dr. Cummins, that was Annette
Trial
Ferguson,
version.
both walking us through what is happening in terms of COVID and what is happening in the success squatting area. Randy, I heard you have some information you're going
Want
to share
to?
with us. Yeah,
Want to?
I'm getting you loud and clear.
All right, good. So before we get to that, Sharon, I want to follow up on what you were discussing with Minister Ferguson. Let me just say that the COVID relief distribution thus far has been nothing short of shambolic. It has been a no, I'm serious. It has been a shambles. It has been utter confusion. And it is nothing short of madness here. One, if we go back to what Minister Ferguson said, all of the information was supposed to be given in Parliament, the layout of structure, how you're going to distribute these funds. Because we're dealing with millions of dollars here donated for the people. You've heard all sorts of things about a household. Now you're hearing it's not every house, but every household, and they're defining a household. And I use the word shambolic because at the end of the day, we are going to have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of disgruntled people who are expecting their 25,000.
Yep.
As we move into, we saw what happened in Region 3, where hundreds of persons were saying, look, the pass should be strict, and I didn't get anything. When you come to Region 4, when you come to Georgetown, where such a large percentage of people are renting, Sharon, what is going to happen when the persons come and upstairs collect money and downstairs and collect? You're going to create a situation where it's just basically tin, and then you're going to throw a spark in that. People are going to be so upset. And it's because you were not planning for this. Sometimes I wonder if the PVP stands for piss poor planning. Because that's what they have done, no sort of meaningful planning to distribute this money. So what we have is a situation where one minister said, look, I ain't touching that. Vinja said, not give me that thing for distribute. But of course, the PVP henchman decided, all right, I can do it. The process as it is, shared, is discriminatory, and it is not even equal, more so equitable, because you would want to think that everybody is going to collect that's equal, but everybody's not getting.
Correct.
And I'm one that I don't believe in equal distribution, but equitable distribution, because we saw former president collecting $25,000 that he eventually gave away. But if you had a proper structure set up, a proper plan for the distribution of this COVID money, you would have done an assessment and know that $25,000 to a millionaire really doesn't make a lot of sense in this season.
Yep.
So family that needs it will get it.
And again, we can go back to the success quarters. Those are the folks who need it. They are exposed to the elements. They don't have it like the rest of folks. And I'm very close with them, very, very close. You don't have it like some people, right?
Those are the people. Those are the depressed areas,
right?
Those depressed areas that were hit hard. Those communities that COVID has really ravaged. Those persons who are living in those big mansions, you're going to knock on the door to give them $25,000 when you could be spending that time getting the monies to the most impoverished areas. Those average households where 2 or 3 persons in the household had to stay home because of COVID, because they're not working in the public sector. They got to work at a bar, they got to work at a restaurant that can't accommodate them anymore. So we're in this situation where it is just this shambolic mess on the desk of the Minister of Local Government. And he is at sea. He is more concerned about what is happening in some small NDC in 𝗪𝗪 region 2, sending persons to swear in people who can't be sworn in, than figuring out that, you know what, this COVID distribution thing is going down a slippery slope, down to the people say, down to a creek that people are shy stuff in. Human excretors. That is where we're heading. We're heading to a place where it's going to be utter confusion when they head to Georgetown, because so many persons in this city are renting. Some houses got four sets of families in them. What happens when they get there?
Well, let me tell you what is happening, because as I said earlier, a woman called me on that very issue. She said that they came to her home, that she is renting, and they said they're only giving it to the landlord. She has to fill up a pink slip. You hear madness?
Yep. And it is going to cause a grave situation. And again, it's the piss poor planning, PPP. Yep. They have no sort of vision. They have no vision because they had no manifesto.
I seen some illiterate people in the comment section saying that, for instance, the comment section on Facebook, that that household, not renters, right? So if you're renting, you can be a household. These bright people.
Exactly.
These bright people.
Right? So you come to tell me that if I'm renting, I am not entitled to this grant that is supposed to relieve the people. Yes. But if I have enough money to own my own home, then I can get the $25,000. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That makes so much sense.
Well, according to the PVP supporters, that makes sense to them. I noticed that you raised also that issue with the 𝗪𝗪 as we're talking about that. But I noticed also there was a termination done of one Mr. Wayne Robinson, who was the overseer of 𝗪𝗪 NDC by the chairperson, I figure, of the NDC.
The chairperson, the old chairperson, terminate.
Dorothy, what?
Something is wrong right there.
Yes. It's a whole set of foolishness happening from top to bottom. It's a
Mm.
whole set of shambolics.
It's
To use
just
the
a
word,
shambolic
shambolics.
mess.
That's what's happening. A whole set of foolishness. And the PPP supporters, they don't read, they don't analyze issues. They're just here, spewing racist nonsense as per normal. They
Yeah.
cannot have an intelligent conversation like this because what are they going to add to it? Right? That is why they're supporting the kind of silly government that we are seeing here. But
Interestingly shared, we normally are inundated, is this a word? Yes, with comments and appearances by the vice president. I see that he has been absent for a while.
tell us about that, Randy.
We have our ears to the ground. We are asking them boys, we got to ask them boys what really happening.
Yeah.
Because the president, and this is a cause for concern for every single Guyanese, because for all intents and purposes, he is the vice president of the country.
Yes.
There are rumors that he is
De facto
unwell.
vice president. Yeah.
De facto vice president, that is. The fraudulent vice president. Them boys
I'm right here.
Them boys said that he is not well. I mean, there are rumors around the place, and
As long now I know the man's sick in his mind. As long now I know sick in his. So is that what we're talking about? He's
I don't
still
know
sick in his
if
mind?
that is the sick. He's probably more that you know that he's sick in his mind a while now. I don't know if that is the cause for his absence and is not seeing him. There are reports that he is not well and he has lost a considerable amount of weight.
Well, I thought the man drink tinners.
Yeah.
I thought he drink tinners to help with the COVID, but he's having that kind of side effect. He thinning out.
Those persons who would have seen him in recent times would have also attested to the fact that he's lost a number of weight, and rumors that he's being treated privately for something. We can't confirm what it is, but those questions have to be asked as citizens of the country, de facto or fraudulent or not. He's sitting in the seat of the vice president, and we are as citizens ought to know what is happening with our elected officials or installed officials.
He's a member of parliament as well. As fraudulent as they are, and these people talk about transparency. That's one of the things I love to talk about. Transparency. But they aren't transparent. At least not in this way that Jagdeo is getting so thin he might become transparent. This is the other transparency we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that is the issue shared, and I'm one that listen to the things on the ground, wanting to know what is happening, if there's any truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I am I'm reading the tea leaves on the ground, the from the bam alleys of the world and the corner shops of the world. We are hearing these things, and I think the government to come out and clarify, because the citizens of the country have a right to know what is happening with those officials. We not seen him. There are rumors that he is not well and he is receiving treatment. Unconfirmed reports, of course. There's also a number of issues playing out here. We know the days of the PPP was fraught with lots of crime committed on part of what they call the Phantom Squad. Reports coming from the ground shard is that there are things in place or put in place to reconstitute that organization, if you want to put it that way. That we might see a comeback, a return of the Phantom Squad, right? Persons well positioned in the PPP party would have given that information in confidence that there are fans and there are persons who were having big meetings in lodge. I wouldn't call it the places that they were meeting. They call a number of names, but let's just report that they are plans afoot to bring back what is called the Phantom Squad, and this is very concerning.
Randy, just hold there before you unpack that, and let's welcome one of our other guests for the evening, Mr. 𝗪𝗵cie 𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁. Gavin, welcome, my brother.
Welcome, Sharon. I mean, I'm so welcome. Thank you
Happy
very
New
much,
Year.
Sharon. Thank you very much. Good night
Welcome
to
to the
you and
big
your
one.
host,
Happy New Year
Mr.
to you and the
Quichelo.
family.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Well, I
wonderful.
don't even have to introduce you. You just start talking. Take over.
I see.
Take over, Gavin.
Well, Sharon, I just had one. I just had an ex-employee from what's it? What is Sugar Estate name over the river?
Wales
Oh,
Estate.
brother, Wales
Wales.
Estate.
Yep.
He called in and he talked about what happened during the PPP regime in the 2013, 2014 era,
Like and share as you join. Go right ahead, Gavin. Sorry about that.
and what happened in David Granger's time. And I told him, I said to you, I said, sir, when people were laid off from Gaisuku during the David Granger government, were they being given a severance package? Were they being paid off? He said, yes, they were. But what happened after then, because cane cutting is the only thing they knew, they didn't want to go into the other part of the economic phase that they were putting them into to go and do aqua farming and poultry farming and cash crop. They didn't want that. So he was telling me that that was the only thing was left for him to do. And that's the only thing he knows. But I had to inform him and said the reason why the estate were closing down because Gaisuku wasn't making money. $20 billion every year. The government has to budget just to prop up Gaisuku and not even pay off its debts.
Yep.
I had to tell him, I said, Gaisuku owes the Bank of Jamaica $9 million and even start paying it off yet.
Yeah. When they can start making profit? In which year? Which century?
And I had to tell him, I said, sugar is not acceptable in the market now, cane sugar. What is acceptable is beet sugar. And it's selling far cheaper than $12 a pound or $5 a pound. Beet sugar is selling for $1.5 a pound. When we sugar get sell, you understand what I mean? When we sugar get sell,
wrong the world up.
Leave it up to the PPP to try to convince their supporters that something that is that costs 35 cents to produce and is being sold on the market for 15 cents to make a profit. How in heavens can we, in
the name of heavens,
to run down the road and just throw money into this waste and you sell that to your people?
No, but Gavin, they said they wanted to reopen the sugar estates. Here are they now firing 49 workers from the Whale Estate, and now they're talking about bringing some gas, pipeline from wherever the rigs are out, in the ocean there. What is happening? They said they're opening back the sugar estate. Was that just a load of gas?
That's a big fat lie. That's a big fat lie. They can't even afford it. Look, this de facto administration needs to come out with the truth and let people know they can't even afford to reopen one estate because it's too expensive just to keep it running. It's Guyanese taxpayers' dollars, and that's what we need to get serious about. Sharon, I don't want to take over your program, right? But I'm fired up.
You go ahead.
Yes, I'm fired up because I'm trying, but I don't know what's your program tonight. I thought we were discussing what we talked about earlier pertaining to the people in.
You chopped it with sugar, so I just. Good to have you, Gavin. I heard that you have some information about some. We were talking with Annette Ferguson, member of Parliament, about success and what's happening in this quarter settlement there, and just to give the public an update. But we know that you have some additional information about some occurrences there. Share that with us.
I was in there Saturday evening. That Saturday passed, and I went there to see a few persons who keep calling me to talk to me about other things that are going on that they suspected. And then one of them keep telling me about people coming down with a particular fever condition. And they're afraid to leave their homes to go seek medical attention because when they come back, they might meet it up. You understand?
Yeah.
And Sharad, this thing brought tears to my eyes because you could imagine a person prefer where they're living in that shack they prefer that over their own health because
Yeah.
of the position that they're in.
Yeah.
It's oh my gosh, believe you
Yeah.
me, Sharon, tears came to my eyes because I
Yeah.
could not believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
This person would have felt that they're telling me something that I need to know, but they didn't know how was I looking at it, in
Yeah.
what kind of position. Because
Yeah.
I'm wondering, you could imagine you're afraid to go to the medical institution because if you come back, you won't meet your home up
Yeah.
just because of a feverish condition. Remember, I'm not a doctor. But she's telling me it's more than one person's little children are coming down with the same kind of like feverish symptoms. Now, I don't know if that's a strand of the COVID virus or what, but
Mhm.
that's what she was trying to tell me, because she's trying to say, if you go now to the Georgetown Hospital, they might hold you. They might think that you come down with a serious case of the COVID-19, and then you wouldn't go back home maybe 14 or 15 days after, and then you
But
wouldn't
you
make it
see,
home.
yeah, but they can go right there and test those people. I mean, the public health issue supersedes whatever other issue is happening on the ground there, right? So the government should go in there and test those folks. They don't have to wait for them to come to a hospital. If they're concerned about the health of each citizen, Gavin, then they can go in there and test those folks.
Jared, I didn't want to go to the Ministry of Health. I didn't even want to go to the Georgetown Hospital. What I did, I went to PAHO to meet that complaint.
Mhm.
You understand? I went to PAHO to make that complaint. And I was told that they only work through the Ministry of Health.
Mhm.
I went to United, the European Union Office to
Mhm.
see the human rights representative. And they're trying to tell me out to all the embassies, because I went to the US Embassy before. Nobody has a representative that deals with human rights situation. I find it hard to believe. You understand?
Yeah.
But it's not a laughing matter. It's so serious that we're having now people, not only their rights are being violated as human beings, but it's that
Yeah.
they're not being attended to.
Yeah.
They're
And
Guyanese.
that's
This
a
is
right
what a
to.
government does when
That's a
they
right
come into
to.
power, to attend to
A
its
right to health.
citizens.
A right to health is a human right as well, because you know what?
Oh
Those
my
folks
God.
in success didn't invent COVID or whatever is happening there, right? That was brought from somewhere, right, and being imposed on them. So they have a right to health as well, Gavin and Randy.
Hmm. So true. So true. I mean, we've spoken at nauseam about the lack of care that this government shows to its citizens, and this is just another example of it. We were there on the ground, and how they treated those persons in success, and to think that they will go in there now and do anything for them would be far-fetched wish. So we just have to continue to bring these matters to light. We have to continue to pressure the powers that be. And if we have to bring the matter to the minister who is sitting there having these press conferences in some other world. I really don't know which world he's living in, right? Assuming somehow that we have COVID under control, and he's believing that the bars are closed when his colleagues are partying at sleeping.
Sleeping and palm court and so on.
Right. So these matters can be dealt with. Right. So we have persons in dire situation. I can't begin to imagine what the rains are doing to those persons at the back there. Right. We into the
Of
rainy
course.
season, and the lands are already low. It was already flooded. Now we have the extra rain. We have whatever is going through there in terms of whether it's COVID or not. And these are matters that should transcend politics. As a
Yeah.
human being, and as the minister of health, you should
Yeah.
forget the party you are part of.
Yeah.
And that you are in there as a minister of public health, not for your party alone, but for the entire country. And those persons are citizens.
I
Yeah.
mean, I was even asking, don't want to cut you on that. I was even asking, where is the Minister of Human Services and Social
Yeah.
Security?
Oh,
Yes.
Because this is her ministry.
Care Bears been there.
This is
They
her
Yeah.
ministry.
stand in National Assembly and say, "Oh, she cares
I
so
mean,
much."
although I call them de facto because that's what they are, they're
And
not
we
a
agree.
duly elected government. But
We
this is
agree
your
with you.
position. this is your position. Whether or not you attain the position illegally or legally, when you get in there, your rights, your position is to look after the citizens of the country that you call yourself minister of.
Yeah.
Gavin, so what is happening at the back in success there currently? What is the status quo, Gavin?
You know what? The status quo is that everybody's becoming tight-lipped because they're fearful. They're fearful of being removed off of the plots of pieces of land they live on. And there's a lot of, I thought that this whole starvation thing is cut off. But I don't know if it's because of the increase of the COVID-19 environment, people are out of jobs. But people are definitely not getting to eat. Seriously. And we got mothers with young children who are trying to have families to look after them while they are fighting with this issue. You understand? I mean, Sherrod said that it's deplorable right now. It is deplorable because you got to walk before the sun comes down. Because the place is so flooded, you got lots of pestilence crawling around the place. You hear with snake bites and all these kind of things. And when they get into there, you don't know what is happening within their camps. Now, all sorts of things I think I want to discuss with you off air that I think it's happening because they're not bringing it up, but one or two people are talking about it. So as man on the ground trying to investigate, I'm trying to, familiarize myself with what is happening so I can come out here and speak to the Guyanese population, whether in Guyana, the Caribbean, or in diaspora. So that's what's happening, but it's very deplorable. Go ahead, Randolph.
No, I agree with you on what's happening in the back there, but I heard you say that you're investigating, you're a man on the ground. Maybe you can shed some light on where the vice president is and the situation. You have any information for us?
It's Gavin got the man running, Randy. It's Gavin got the man running.
Randy, this man closing in for me so fast that I expect it and I accept it. I don't really mind. Maybe he's annoyed because I speak out. But this has to stop. This has to stop.
There are rumors that the man is not well and the man has lost a considerable amount of weight. So the question is, where is Barrett and what is going on with him? People don't know. I thought you had some answers.
No, man. That man is a criminal. Sorry to say that on your show, Sherrod. But he's a criminal. He's a convict. And I have no respect for him. He would never be my vice president if he was legally elected or not. His past is so atrocious that he can't convince me about nothing.
Usually on a show, management might say these views are not management views. These are our views. These are our views. They are fraudulent, illegitimate bunch of people.
They got people going in there, investigating people who are by themselves, young women and children, who are threatening to rape them, all sorts of things, drive fear in them to make them come out of the place. Wow. Because we got people living, they got people living, and that's what I wanted to talk to you, Sherrod, after the show. We got people living way beyond that you expected that they're supposed to be living. When they come out of their home and they look like at least 100 meters in front of them, 100 feet as a matter of fact, they ain't seeing nothing, it's complete darkness. You want to know why are they living till down in the back there at this time? Because people are saying to me, that they do not want to move. There's no guarantee that this de facto administration will put them in something that is feasible to them. That give them a house. Right. Nothing. There's no guarantee.
They're absolutely right, because 𝗵𝗵 stood on public television just in old year's day, stating that state workers and other persons are getting 25,000, bonus, quote unquote. And then the finance secretary comes back and say, well, it's not really everybody. How can you trust these people? They promised to give 40,000 as old age pension. Anybody get 40,000? They promised 2 weeks bonus to the army, the joint services. They bonus. Did they get it? They promised public servant, raising salary. The only people that are doing well is PPP people. And that's the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Randy?
So true. Sure. At this point in time, if we believe anything that we hear coming from the government, something not wrong with people.
I can call them de factos.
I want to say something to both you fellas here tonight. My phone is ringing off. Now I'm not supposed to take calls. Sherrod, should I take, because
You go
I
ahead.
don't know.
You take over, my brother, if you want.
Okay, all right. Let me answer this call. It's very important. Thank you very much for calling the ring tonight. Go ahead, sir.
I love it.
Thank you very much for calling the ring. Go ahead.
Hey, why you don't know what it is? Do you are you?
See what I'm talking about? And the one, Sharon, the one lock me up for, they want to lock me up.
Set a de facto fraudulent people call you.
They want to lock me up for incitement. Me don't tell these people nothing. You see me call me, tell me? They're ugly monkey, that kind of thing.
If they touch me, they touch you, they touch Randy, other Rastas gonna take my place. You understand me?
Sharon, before I go, or if I do go, I want to leave a scar upon the racial memory that they will never forget that this 𝗪𝗵cie that they once knew, it's not no pie. And I'm very serious because I prefer to stand in front of anything just to proclaim justice for Guyanese. Not only me, not only Black, Indian, or whatever, but Guyanese. And I'm looking for my children to come up in a country that has a democracy and a constitution that everybody respects. You think they could go to the US and deal? Not even Trump can't tell the US right now, though. You hear everybody talking about? Boy, they got a constitution that we got to follow. We can't do what you want to do. That's jail time looking at you. What happened to Guyana? Seriously, what is happening to Guyana? Are we that weak? Sherrod, I'm asking these questions because I want us to know that Guyana is in a constitutional crisis and we need to stand up and defend ourselves. Sherrod, these are your people calling me here now. Can I take this other one?
Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you very much for calling the ring. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Shepard. Good night, Mr. Pritchlow, and good night, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah.
So Matthews, I'm one of the residents in Success. That's the main reason for me calling now.
Okay.
I've been in there up to like yesterday and nobody really, and I think you know who's speaking though.
I know who's speaking, yes.
Nobody complained to me about the outbreak. I usually just tell me and I try to get it to persons in authority or like, you know, in the opposition.
Well, you better go back and
I even was just speaking with one of my fellow squatter, and all that she tell me is by her place, by surrounded with water, is that she's getting like she's feel cold in the nights. So I'm trying to figure out who exactly are the persons that are saying that there's an outbreak in something in there. Because personally right now they have some persons coming in there and they're spreading a set of rumors, Mr. Matthews, and the things that they are doing, we are not up for it with them. Because personally, look, for instance, yesterday I spoke to two young men and they was doing something illegal, wherever. One make me to he would shoot me up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, just to let you know, it was more down to the other end. You know which end I'm talking about? By the bridge. Yes, those same.
Which was?
You remember those couple that lives on that dam with that blue tent? They are one of them that's suffering from that kind of
ailment,
effect, that kind of ailment. So they were complaining to me that yes, and they're complaining to me that more than one persons are experiencing the same kind of symptoms.
No. I think with them there is because the water they're using right there. They don't mean to go fetch water, what have you. It could be from the water that they're using there, but I spoke to other persons, as I said.
Okay.
And they haven't confirmed it.
Okay.
Let's check it out and see.
Well, we're gonna check it out and see, but we want health experts to go in there and check with them also too, because we don't want to take it. We don't want to take it for granted. We never checked on it.
We need them because personally, remember now the area is an area where people are mining hogs and different things, and the feces mixing up with the mud and the water that people have to be traversing through, especially in this rainy weather.
Right. Okay.
So we would glad to have the health experts there, but with the outbreak, to be honest, as I said, you understand, nobody has confirmed it to me.
Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you need to check out some more with them, but I make sure that I check out.
Yeah.
I make sure that I try to investigate. Okay, Cheryl? Oh, shoot, I call your name. Sorry.
We are running out of time,
No,
so
no problem.
we are going to work on that.
Okay, we're going to work on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Before we go, Gavin, what else is happening at your end?
Well, I'm trying to have Rickford work with me on a petition to the U.S. Congress through Mr. Meeks to bring the plight of the Guyanese people to the U.S. Congress, who was in the Foreign Affairs Committee, and also to the newly elected Biden administration. So I'm looking to have more than at least 10,000 signatures. And I would very much appreciate if I would be helped in that part, because, Sherrod, I believe that we need to take certain steps forward. Yeah. This administration should not be comfortable. It's illegal. Yeah. It's de facto. I don't care who looks at it, but it is. And I cannot allow them to be comfortable. This is not business as usual.
Who vex?
Right. Yep. Who vex? I'm not waiting until the elections petition is being ruled upon and we celebrate 𝗵𝗵 𝗴 and we won the. I want actions to be happening now. This is a de facto administration. This is a criminal enterprise. This is a terrorist group. That's what I call them. I don't care. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't care, because this is who they be. This is all these people can do. Send home people in time of COVID-19. They're jobless. They don't have money to pay their rent, to eat, to do nothing. What you think will happen? We'll have increase of prostitution. We'll have increase of crime. We'll have increase of drugs. We'll have increase in the entertainment industry, because it's the only way the ladies will go find money to feed their children. Are you telling me that is what we're worth? This is what you're putting Guyana to? I mean, come on, Sharon, I don't want to take over your program, you know, but I'm fired up like I can't help it.
No. You do what you got to do. That's how we do it. You're my brother. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Randy, what's happening at your end? Take off your mic. Put on your
Randy,
mic.
mic is on.
Mic up, Randy. Mic up.
Yeah. So, you know, much of the same, Sharon. I want to pick up on a story that I see the Village Voice aired earlier today, where the former Attorney General Bassett Williams responds to Auditor General's report. I know that Mr. Williams would have put out some numbers there on how much the PPP would have spent on their payment of lawyers outside of the lawyers that were paid by the state. So I find it very interesting, and I recommend that persons go to Village Voice page and they listen to what the former Attorney General had to say. And of course, I'll be airing that again at 10:30 on our late night reflections. What the Bassett Williams had to say on those issues in terms of payment, procurement procedures that they're claimed that he would have breached those procurement procedures in contracting attorneys and law firms during his tenure, his time there. But we continue, Sherry. We continue to watch what is happening, especially with this COVID. And this is something that I would have taken personal umbrage to, because many persons that I know are living in situations where I know they would find problems when they reach with them. They're in rented houses. They're living in places where there are 1, 2, 3, 4 families. I am so afraid of what will happen when these people reach the Georgetown.
Yeah. Well, from all intents and purposes, nobody gets no money because they're given only to the landlords. That is the word on the ground. And let's give the final word this evening to our guest, Gavin Matthews. The final word goes to you, my brother.
This is my New Year message. It's not business as usual. Let us fight for what we have, and we have Guyana right now. Let us fight for a return of our constitution, a return of our sovereignty. Let us fight to be not only recognize but to have this problem solved by our own selves. We can do this. We can stand up. We can protest. We can hit the streets. We can make this possible because we're fighting for a democratic and a free Guyana. That is what we're fighting for. The minute you remove a constitution from a country, for me or for any one of the Guyanese to legally vote, that is not a constitution, that is not a country, that is not a republic anymore. It's a failed state. Guyanese who are listening, locally, in the Caribbean, in the diaspora, let's bring this fight for this de facto government. I prefer to be arrested for the right thing than for the wrong thing. Thank you very much, Sherrod. Thank you very much for giving some spice to your program. Thank you very much and allowing me. And
thank you,
Mr. Kitchelo too.
Folks, we want to encourage you guys to continue to practice all of the social distancing, all of the COVID protocols that are in place for your health and your safety. Whether it's social distancing, is wearing your mask, is sanitizing, all of the other regulations that are in place. Continue to do that for your health and your safety. Y'all know this government ain't got time with y'all, right? So we got to take matters in our own hands. Continue to stay safe from COVID-19. And we pray that you guys continue to have the testicular fortitude and the intellectual aptitude to step into the ring. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
All right.
Great. Good night.
Have a great evening.